Bitcoin reaches an all-time high in transactions. What does that mean for BTC when 70K, as Bitcoin has rebounded quite nicely, is dipping to that $56,000 region. Also, the SEC is at it again, dragging in one of the largest retail-driven platforms in not just crypto, but in the stock market as well, as they have issued another Wells notice. What does that mean? Does that help our chances? Does that help the chances of companies like Coinbase and Ripple and Uniswap that are going through lawsuits currently with the SEC? We're going to talk about altcoin season, which altcoin should you have your eyes set on? Also, Solana. One person is really bullish on Solana, and a sector in crypto that has received a lot of VC funding. Over 50% of the total money that has gone in to crypto this year via VCs has gone to this one sector. Which coins in that sector should you have your eye on? We're going to talk about that. Big token unlocks and a lot of news to talk about today. Altcoin season. Is it going to make you a lot of money? Let's talk about it. Let's go.
Hola! It's your boys, Big Rob and Lil Dave, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking this out, we're the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel. We take old, boring, stale information, repackage that thing up in a fun and sexy way. Bitcoin's back, baby.
You excited to be back?
I'm excited to be back. Back in the chair today.
People were wondering, like, did we put you in timeout?
I was on timeout.
Nah, I told you guys in the beginning, you know, Rob and Rocco really needed to spend some time together. Rocco,
We bonded. We
you
did.
bond good with Robin there, Rocco?
Yeah, hey, David, that's your turn now.
My turn.
Yeah, come and bond with me.
All right, done.
Okay, so tomorrow's show will be brought to you by Big Rob and produced by both Rocco and Dave.
Wow, I'll probably mess it up more than I will help. But hey, you know, I'm up for a challenge. I did mention Bitcoin reaching an all-time high in transactions. And so this is pretty cool, right? 1 billion transactions officially on the Bitcoin network, an average of 178,475 daily transactions have been made on Bitcoin during its 5,603-day existence. This happened block number 842,241 at 9:30 p.m. UTC on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Big shout out. I hope there was someone from Spain or from Mexico who made that.
Spain, yes.
Who made that billion
From
transaction.
Spain.
Hopefully someone from Spain was celebrating
It would be very-
a make-believe Corona holiday in Mexico.
It would be. Did you call Cinco de Mayo a make-believe Corona holiday? Why don't you educate yourself? All right. If I have any people of Latin descent here in the
Okay,
chat, can someone please educate my friend Rob here on what the value proposition and what Cinco de Mayo is?
There is a something to celebrate for Cinco de Mayo, but it has been miscommunicated that it's Mexican Independence Day and not exactly that.
That is true.
It is a victory for a certain battle. I don't know enough about it to speak on it but factually, but I do know it's not Mexican Independence Day. I'll say that, although it's kind of touted that way in certain circles. So.
Look, we just need a reason to drink, okay? But Rob, you
Do
know,
you put lime in your Corona, or do you just go straight out the bottle?
I put lemon.
Stop
That's
it.
a joke. Relax. I don't even drink, okay? I don't drink. Gives me acid reflux.
You should
Now-
start.
Rob, when you, I don't hear what he said. I don't want to hear what he said. When you think about where we've come so far to see 1 billion transactions on Bitcoin, what are your thoughts, man? This is a pretty big milestone. You know, Bitcoin first came out, no one gave it a second look, and then once it started gaining traction, everyone pointed the finger and laughed and called us morons and magic internet money idiots or whatever they said. And then now we're kind of in the day fight you stage where people are realizing, hey, this thing is legit. This thing is here to say, what is the significance of 1 billion transactions? What are your thoughts, man?
Well, it's no different than it was yesterday.
Wow.
There it is.
Wow. Great analysis.
It is pretty big. I mean, I'll say that it just affirms the tenure of the nature of the network, and the fact that it's been around for so long and that it's processed 1 billion transactions, and ultimately it hasn't faltered, it hasn't went down, other than a quick hiccup in the very beginning in the early days of Bitcoin, but it has held strong, and well, hey, that stood the test of time. And this is what we want to see out of the other altcoins, right? When we look at, hey, does it stand the test of time? Can it process 1 billion transactions? I know that these altcoins, because they have very small fees and there's a lot of movement for smart contracts, we're going to get to 1 billion transactions on the other chains a lot quicker and sooner than we would on Bitcoin. But you like to see that, hey, maybe some of these blockchains get to a trillion transactions. Maybe they get to 10 billion transactions. Maybe we'll see that out of XRP and Cardano and Binance and Avalanche, Near Protocol, Solana. And as you tick by and you tick up the transactions, it just reaffirms that, well, it's still here, hasn't broken. Well, Solana's broken a couple times, but
I was watching the roast of Tom Brady on Netflix yesterday. Did you watch that? Okay. A lot of crypto jokes, right? They're like Kevin Hart said, if you're wondering why we didn't host this at the Crypto.com arena, well, because Tom Brady lost his fans millions of dollars. And, they're still clowning on fake money, and you should have known this, right? And so I think we're still a long ways away from truly mainstream adoption, or at least understanding of the importance of Bitcoin and what it does. And I think, unfortunately, that's going to come when everything starts to crumble, when inflation starts to go back up again, when the U.S. debt continues to go up, when we surpass, and I believe we're there already, someone correct me if I'm wrong here, we pay more in interest per year than we bring in tax revenue. So the U.S. has officially turned into a Ponzi scheme because we are raising debt and then we use that to pay back previous debt. This is called a Ponzi scheme, my friends. And so I think we still have a far ways to go, but we've made quite the big strides. I mean, we get so bogged down and caught up in the day-to-day, hour-to-hour price action of Bitcoin. Well, is it over 60K? Well, my long, I don't want it to get liquidated. You really zoom out and think 14 years, right? 15 years, this thing has been around, and it's to see where it's come now, 1 billion transactions. I think it's amazing. I think it's helped a lot of people. It's changed a lot of people's lives, whether it's you having exposure to it, making a lot of money, whether it's you now having the ability to send money to family back home. I know Robin talks about this all the time, but his daughter lives in Israel and he sends her money via crypto and stable coins.
Yeah, they always want me to send Tron. I'm like, do you know how hard it is for me to pick up Tron?
Tron is very expensive.
I'm like, stop it. Like, I would just rather send, I always get them on Ethereum eventually, but
yeah. Hey, Ethereum fees are coming down.
It's just hard for me to quickly get in and out of Tron here in the States. It's, there are some workarounds and you can do it, but it's definitely not as
the headache.
Simple. Yes.
Either way, though, crypto and Bitcoin give people opportunities that they may have never had before. Let's talk about ETF flow. So we had a big day on Friday. We saw, Robin, look at this. You see this?
Is it grayscale?
Not a single line of red. Even grayscale.
Grayscale. First inflow day.
Ever.
Yeah. You know what? Shout out to Grayscale. Finally.
Michael Sonachan.
Finally. The tides have reversed. Maybe it's short-lived.
Okay, my question here, bro, is who
the hell bought?
Who is buying GBTC at 1.5% when you can go to BlackRock for 0.25? You can go to Fidelity for 0.2. Who? I mean, thank you, right? Thank you so much because we don't see these outflows. But especially if you're like, okay, because Grayscale's been in crypto for a long time. Sure,
they have
great.
Stood the test of time.
But they have the mini ETF. They have the mini one that has 0 fees or 0.15 or whatever.
They stood the test of time, gentlemen, ladies. They stood the test of time. That's the only thing I can think of. is that, hey, they've been custodying Bitcoin. They're a trusted custodian. Because at the end of the day, yes, you're looking at the frontline headline fee, which is the 0.5%, or here you can look at a competitor at 1.5%. It seems like a no-brainer. But on one end, hey, I'm going to put my life savings, I'm going to put a big part of my portfolio in this company and trust that they will custody it and without any problems. And Grayscale has been doing it since 2013.
Robin, I disagree with you. Here's why, right? If it was just Grayscale and some hinky-dinky ETF companies,
I'm not
sure.
saying that there's some
But, bro, you
large...
got BlackRock. You got the largest asset manager in the world. If it's about trust, why not?
Still are
why
new.
not the company
They're
that
still new at the game, man? I'm not saying. I'm not saying
new
that.
in money.
Me personally, I would not. For me, the risk is mitigated. I think it's so minute because I feel like the checks and balances put in place by companies like BlackRock, they would have already done their research. When I was in New York and listening to BlackRock speak, they've been building the ETF or putting the framework for the ETF since 2021. And so they've been 3 years in preparation for this. I don't believe... Yeah, I genuinely don't see any dropping of the ball by BlackRock. But from an analytic perspective, when I sit here and I look at the data and we question, why would you pick this over that? There's only one thing that stands out, or there's only one reason or case that you can make for why someone would pay the extra premium. And it's simply because they've been around longer. And maybe they feel a little bit more secure. Hey, this company has been custodying Bitcoin for 11 years for consumers on Wall Street. And BlackRock as well, been doing it for 4 months. Perhaps, you know what, I don't mind paying that extra 1%, knowing that they know exactly how to custody it.
I don't know. I just don't think the...
So then where's the number coming from?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It's like...
I don't know.
So you don't believe that the tick up in Grayscale versus the competitors is because of their tenure and they've been around for so much.
Maybe it has something to do with it. But if you're talking about trust, I mean, there's a reason BlackRock has 10 trillion.
I'm not saying people don't trust them. I'm just saying that, like, what other reason would somebody pick that chain over another?
I don't know.
Or they're not blockchains.
They're ETF.
But yeah, why would you pick that ETF over another? There's only one thing.
People are stupid.
If you're going to pay the premium, it's because they've been around for a long ass time.
Or maybe you like Michael Sonnenschein.
Nobody even knows who he is. I don't even know who he is. I know who he is, but I know his name, but and I've seen him on interviews, but I don't know, dude. And if I don't know, dude, then you don't know, dude.
You know who else we don't know, dude? Is Mr. 100. The man or woman is at it again. My God. Currently holding 65,456.51 Bitcoin. Went on another shopping spree. So obviously we talked about the 2nd of May, where this account, God, I mean, look at all these May 2nd transactions, 100, 200, 100, 300, 100, 100, blah, blah. And then Friday, about another 100. So 65,000. And, you know, we've speculated on who this could potentially be. Probably a nation state or maybe Jeff Bezos. Dude just cashed out $8 billion. But we have buying pressure. So this is good. Mr. 100, we like you. Keep spending your money on Bitcoin, okay? Also, we have this from Ali Charts.
What if it's China?
I don't know.
Are you still saluting Mr. 100 if it comes out to be China? I know that there's a lot of evidence saying that it's...
Are you trying to pit me against the Chinese government?
I'm just saying that you blindly just say that this is great and this is good for our space, but perhaps it's someone that might not be friendly to the network.
Here's my thing, okay? If it was China, right, the whole Bitcoin mining ban, what better way for a communist country to allow mining of Bitcoin instead of buying it?
Okay, is there any person, country, nation state company that if they were buying thousands of Bitcoin in short periods of time, you would look at as a negative? Or do you think just simply purchasing Bitcoin is a net positive no matter who it comes from?
Well, for price, of course, it's a net positive.
I mean, you could buy and then just straight tank the market, right? you could purposely create volatility. So I think for price, it is dependent on the thesis of how long you're going to hold it for, right? And so if Mr. 100 all of a sudden decides to dump it next week, all of it, giant chunks, then we know what that can do for the price.
We have Michael Saylor.
And maybe it's someone putting a position on Michael saying, I don't know, man. I think that just blindly assuming that buying thousands of Bitcoin is ultimately always bullish, I think is not the case, depending on who it is. That's what I was saying. I'm like, hey, what if it was...
so answer your own question.
I don't know. I think that's why I said China. I think I would not trust China with buying that much Bitcoin just because they've switched their stance on Bitcoin. And I think that if one day they decide that they don't want a position on Bitcoin, if they were custodying, I think they would take drastic measures to try to harm the network or at least harm the price and spook the markets by dumping at the wrong time.
Maybe. But number go up, it's good. I want to talk about this here. So this is from Ali Charts. Despite Bitcoin's recent surge from 57 to 64K, the MVRV 90-day ratio indicates that Bitcoin remains in a prime buy zone. Rob, what do you say to the people who might be watching and saying, I didn't get a chance to buy at 56K. Now it's sitting at 63K. Is it too late to buy Bitcoin?
It's too late.
No, seriously. Like, at what point would you tell someone, maybe wait for the next cycle?
This is how I look at Bitcoin, right? Is that if you're buying it to make money in the short term, don't even buy Bitcoin, right? If you're looking to buy a crypto, particularly Bitcoin, this market cycle, make short-term gains and cash out, go further down the risk curve, right? Because your gains are going to be mitigated on Bitcoin. You're only going to get so much to the upside. And if you're looking for a long-term position and you're looking for Bitcoin, then at that point, it doesn't matter, right? Just DCA. Essentially, what you're doing, and MicroStrategy is a great example of this. They've just routinely kept buying over and over again. They bought the top. They bought their last buy was over 70. Was over 60.
I think it was over 70K.
Was it over 70K?
I think so.
They had one over 70K. They had one buy over 70K, and I don't know if they had one since then, but nonetheless, they have routinely purchased Bitcoin, regardless of what the price is in the short term. And it's simply because, hey, we're just taking our dollars and we're converting it over to Bitcoin. And over a long-term time horizon, that is going to pay off because of the inflation of the dollar, because of politics. We just keep spending money. We keep printing money. And every policy now is not backed by how are we going to pay for it. It's backed by convincing the rest of the government that it's okay to print this, right? When we decide, hey, let's send some aid to another country, we don't say, hey, where are we going to get this money from to send aid to the other country? We just say, we're going to send aid to the other country. Are y'all cool with printing this? Everyone disagrees. And then all of a sudden they negotiate. And then they all agree, okay, we could print the money. Not as much as you originally said.
I thought they just FaceTime Janet and Jerome and just, hey, go ahead and turn that money printer on. We're ready.
So on there's two things that give Bitcoin its price. One is, sure, people are speculative on the price. As more people buy it, the price goes up, right? The order books are reflective of the buy and sell pressure. That is obvious. But what I think is a larger factor in the Bitcoin price is the fact that the dollar's purchasing power is eroding, and it takes more and more dollars to buy things. And so if Bitcoin, as time moves forward, it takes more and more dollars to buy Bitcoin. So regardless of the buy and sell pressure in the short term, I know that 8 years from now, regardless of having, you throw all that out the window, I just look at a situation like, hey, dollar's going to be worth significantly less in 8 years than it is now. And it's going to take a lot more of those dollars to buy Bitcoin, even if nothing changes with the protocol, nothing changes with the buy and sell pressure, even if the supply stayed exactly the same, the dollar's just going to be worth less. worth less because it's worthless.
Like that.
That was good. It's good.
That was good. But I like that you did that, Rocco. I'm proud of you. Robin, it's been a while since we've done something.
Nice proud of me.
Yeah. And if you are new here, say hello. We'd love to give you a shout out. We have I Am Groger, Robin G, not to be confused with Robin Me. And then we got Ada BB, Trust the Lies, Tim Buck 2, and then El Chingon up in here as well.
El Chingon.
And so, and I see God bless Andre Brown to all of you. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also, looks like we got a $2 super chat from Crickcats. He said, sorry I'm late, paying my fine.
You know, we should implement that fine.
Yeah, we should.
You know, Robin, I was looking at the like numbers. We need a nudge in likes, you know?
60 likes. That's
We need
great.
also, you know, to get to 70K, which is obviously, if you see on the TV here, that is the theme of today's show, right? 70K. We need a little nudge. You know where else you can use a little nudge? When you're in the weight room, Robin, and you're going for a new PR, new personal
That's
record.
the last time you went in the weight room, bro.
Did I say me? I said when you're in the weight room, okay? So
Okay, yeah, when I'm in there, I'll
There
be
is-
in there later today.
there is a trick, Robin. If you're going for your personal record today, to get a spotter, and there's a trick to make sure you get that last little tick up, that last little bump up to get, you know, that personal record. And so, Rocco, why don't you pull up my laptop here? I got a video, visual of, well, if you just need a nudge. All right, let's talk about altcoin season. But before I talk about altcoin season,
That was valuable right there. Very valuable. Yeah.
about as valuable as, you know.
Yeah. I just have a feeling that if me and you went to the gym, you'd just be running around behind me doing that all day.
We never
He's
could
very
deal with you.
immature when the camera's off. I'll just say
Wow.
that. Thank
Okay, whatever that means. Now, lost my train of thought and my segue. Before we get into the altcoin season, I want to give a big shout out to our channel sponsor today's show. Today's crystal clear, amazing 4K stream you're watching on your devices and your TV is brought to you by Cam's Blue Wire Technology, our sole IT partner here at Sin City Crypto. If you want to learn how they can help your business scale and grow and maximize your networking, IT, and cybersecurity, visit BlueWireTech.com or click the link in the description of this video. Robin, altcoin season, kind of here, kind of not here. It's like peekaboo, like Groundhog, right? Like, is it spring yet? Nope. Eventually, that sucker comes out and spring is here.
The groundhog doesn't poke his head out. He's pulled out of a freaking box and then held up on a stage. And then if it's sunny out, then it's more winter. If he's
Listen.
cloudy out, then it's...
Before boxes, they would just pop their heads up on their own. Okay, just like, was that necessary? Anyways, altcoin season.
Very, very sensitive.
We're probably facing this from El Crypto Professor. We're probably facing the biggest altcoin season in the last 4 years. And the beauty of it, if you look at the history, it won't be long before it starts and gives you a little glimpse here of what happened in 2016, right? Little range bound, breakout, test, and off to the races. 2020, range bound, breakout in the red here, retest, and off to the races. Well, where are we at right now, Robin? Oh,
This is altcoins?
this is the altcoin market.
Like, what metrics? Is it just like...
This is probably, here, I'll
don't-
tell you right
don't
now.
have the details on it.
I'll tell you right now. So this is crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin.
Ah.
So
Hmm.
where were we? What did we see? And where are we now? Look at that, Robin. We've broken up above the range. We are currently retesting. Are we about to see alts fly, man?
I think so. But I do think that it's going to be what you don't expect. That's generally what you get out of the crypto markets, right? Is that you get a certain sector, you get certain altcoins, you get projects that wouldn't pump. Because remember, everyone was gearing up for the rise of Dash and the takeover of Litecoin last bull market. And whatever else was there? All these Monero,
EOS.
XRP was supposed to like change lives.
EOS had the largest site.
EOS, like the list goes on, and yet we saw, well, Ethereum performed well. Cardano exceeded expectations, and then came all the sleepers. That's where Near Protocol busted into the scenes. You had Solana absolutely come out of nowhere, and then a lot of other projects came into the fray, hung out for a little bit, and then went bye-bye. Like Harmony One, Mina Protocol started off, kind of got its legs going, and then slowed down. And Kadena, remember Kadena?
Yeah, Kadena is 98%.
Yeah, there was a lot of them. And so I think that we'll see.
Sounds like they just need a little
I
boost, you know?
the thumb boost.
The thumb boost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boost them up, baby.
So there's going to be a lot of new projects. That's where I'm getting at. I think that there will be a couple that we look back and be like, that was obvious. I think Chainlink is a great example of this, that they had a very strong previous bull market. I think that they'll have a very nice performance this bull market. I do think
What's your
that
top call on Chainlink before you move on?
on price.
Yes.
What
It's at about $14 right now. 15.
Chainlink outside the top 15 $15 basically. I would say because it hung around $25. I think it's gonna have a strong performance, but I think for what you're expecting, I don't think it'll reach because I know you're hyper bullish on Chainlink, but I do think that let's see, it got up to $50. But basically, most of the bull market, it traded somewhere between $20 and $30. And I think $60, $70 would probably be where I think it'll land, which is a good 5x from where it is now. I think that's very strong performance. I just think that there's not enough retail fire behind Chainlink. And I think that because it is primarily used as an Oracle service that is expanding its use case and utility to be cross-chain interoperable, even those services aren't something that the retail is using. And I don't think that for the prices to really skyrocket, you need retail to speculate and get very strong FOMO on a project and say, hey man, like this is crazy. It's going to change everything. And then like I'm using it and speculating, buying, trading it. And that's what you get from an ecosystem, right? That everyone's using. And I don't think that everyone in the ecosystem is going to be using it. I think that the protocols are going to be using it, but that's not sexy for the retail. So
I want to know what the chat thinks. What is your top call for Chainlink in this cycle? I've tempered my expectations a little bit. I know I said $400, $500, $600. I think we'll breach $100. I think 150, maybe 200.
$100.
Yeah. If
wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it wouldn't shock me, but it would surprise me a little bit.
The underlying, and then I agree, right? Retail Chainlink isn't sexy. It's an Oracle service, great. It's community. They have the Link Marines, great. But few things, staking, taking around 42 million Link tokens out of circulating supply, out of the sell pressure side of things. You have, of course, CCIP, which I'm super bullish on, but a bunch of other things as well. Chainlink functions, partnerships with DTCC, Swift. We know their transporter is live where you can bridge, for now, USDC from Avalanche, Polygon, Ethereum, Arbitrum. I want to say that I think there's a third non-Ethereum chain on there, but it's not coming to me right now. But super easy. And on the back end, right, the back end, Link is used as a gas token. So a lot of things could be happening for Chainlink. We'll see where CCIP goes. I know Rob brings up, hey, it's fairly new. They've actually been working on it for a very long time, but the adoption is fairly new. So we'll see how quickly that can get adopted. You throw in some retail on there, man. I mean, pretty exciting stuff to see with Chainlink. So throw your predictions in the chat here, and we'll read off a few ones. I want to talk about from Chainlink to Solana. So this is from Solana Floor. Solana maintains its dominance in weekly NFT blockchain user adoption, surpassing all other chains with a dominance of around 29%. Ethereum is number 3. Interesting, over the last 7 days. We don't really talk about NFTs a lot. Some people say NFTs are dead. I'm not particularly bullish on NFTs at least not in the way that they were in the previous cycle, where it's just a monkey picture and they're going for $1 million. Do I think the technology and what NFTs can do, I'm definitely bullish on that. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on Solana, Rob? And then what are your thoughts on NFTs? And real quick, before you answer that question, let me just piggyback this article off of as well. Why Solana has been an almost obvious play, according to this crypto VC, Raoul Paul. He highlighted the upcoming Fire Dancer update. He also had a couple quotes I want to share here. One, if Jump is applying this level of intellectual horsepower to something like Solana, do you think they're doing that because they think it's not going to be around and making a difference with it as it relates to trading tokenized anything? And that was a question posed to Raoul, and to which Raoul said, Solana not only has been this kind of almost obvious play of like, this is of course what people are going to use behind the scenes, but they have also embraced culture in a way I think a lot of other chains have not. So, thoughts on Solana, thoughts on NFTs. Is Solana still a good play here at $150?
I think so. I think what we're seeing with Solana's rise is the fact that people want to use a network. They want to participate with smart contracts. They want to use DeFi. They want to use crypto for what crypto was built for, right? Was to get away from the intermediaries, get away from all the pain points that you have with moving money, take the new innovations like smart contracts, like DeFi, but do it in a scalable way that isn't breaking the bank. And so what all this means is that people are leaving Ethereum. Instead of people building on Ethereum, instead of people using Ethereum to send money, instead of people using Ethereum to use smart contracts, and I'm not saying that Ethereum is dead. However, there is a growing audience of people that say, I would rather do this on Solana versus doing this on Ethereum. It's just cheaper and it is faster, right? And so, and Ethereum is losing users and value to competitors, and Solana is leading the race as far as that adoption, picking up those users. And NFTs was a very, very, very strong point of Ethereum last bull market. And as you mentioned, I don't think that the JPEGs with the monkey pictures, I don't think that is going to come back, not at least not at the strength that it was before. I'm sure there'll be some hot collectible NFTs that do share that JPEG mentality, but I do think that we'll see a new wave of NFTs. I think a lot of that is going to be built on other chains that aren't Ethereum, and I think Solana is leading that race, or at least making a case for why build there and build here, right? And so I think that music, media in general, as far as videos, and also the tokenization of real-world assets, that is done through NFTs, right? It's a non-fungible token that is tracked and traced on the blockchain. I think that is going to be one of the strongest areas of crypto. This bull market, look no further than BlackRock going all in on tokenization of real world assets. You had Larry Fink going on his media tour of interviews where he just routinely talked about both Ethereum and the tokenization of real world assets. But I don't think that Ethereum can handle that at scale. So tokenization of real world assets will come on other chains through the form of NFTs on the likes of Solana and friends.
Yeah. I think Sol can get to $1,000 this cycle. I really do.
Yeah.
Fire Dancer comes out. We know Visa's launching, and they're really interested in the Solana ecosystem. We know the meme coins have popped off. Kind of what we saw with ETH back in the last cycle. Memes and NFTs really just drove the transaction volume on Ethereum, which in turn drove up the price. And we're seeing, and we're going to continue to see something similar on Solana. So
I think that, I don't think that Solana will hold 1,000 in the long term, or at least not on the back end of the bull market. And so I would be very comfortable just straight putting in a trade position now. Hey, I'm going to limit buy, or I'm going to market buy now, right? Maybe DCA over the course of a few weeks. and then I'm going to sell at $950. I'm going to sell all of it. I think that is an excellent strategy. I mean, you're up about a 7x with that strategy. I think that it'll get to $1,000, and even if it doesn't, $950 is probably an area that the market will hit if it gets close to 1,000, and that is pretty strong returns. Maybe Solana gets to 1,400. Maybe Solana gets to 2,000. That is a hyper bullish scenario. I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility. I think it's something that could happen, and we've seen big moves like that out of previous chains. But I am very confident to say that on the back end of the bull market, if we get this hyperbolic run up where we see a $2,000 Solana, there's going to be a massive retracement, and I do think that it will be sub $1,000. I do think something like $500-$600 Solana 3 years from now is something that we'll probably see. And so why round trip that token price? Pick it up now, secure a strategic exit, say just shy of $1,000, get a nice comfortable 7x, probably obtainable within the next 2 years, the next year and a half. And yeah, you'll look like a genius on the back end.
Thank you, Robin.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. All right, let's jump into the crypto markets. Throw it over to my friend Robin here.
All right, so taking a look, we do have Bitcoin coming in at 63,000, and for this, $63,335. You can see on the 1 day, we did briefly cross the 65K mark late last night / early this morning. At least here on the Pacific time. And then we've pulled back a little bit down to 63, but 63 is still holding support. If you zoom out onto the 1 week chart, you can see that we've had very strong support since the beginning of the month. So they say sell in May or go away or whatever term they're using nowadays there on the crypto trading YouTube
You say
channel.
sell in May and you hella crazy.
So yeah. Here we go. 57,000 to 63. We tapped 65. It says one thing for me. What does that say? The bull market's back, baby.
Bull market's back, huh?
Bull market's back.
So you're saying, by you saying it's back, you're pretty much saying it left.
It took a break. If you look at the 1 month chart,
Like that one girlfriend.
if you look
a break.
at the 1 month chart, you can see that we were over 70K here for a brief period of time, putting in some new all-time highs. And we have been selling off since then. And, we had some speculators. We've had some other TA analysis say that we're going as low as
2K?
Yeah, some crazy numbers out there. And, well, 57,000 seem to be in pretty strong support, right? I mean, this is the 1 month chart. I mean, you look at the 1 year, I mean, this was just a blip on the radar, right? And so on the 1 month, I think we look in hindsight, we say, hey, man, 56,000. Well, should have picked some up because the next stop, 100K, baby. I do think, today's theme of the thumbnail is $70,000 Bitcoin. And, what is the time horizon for that? I think it's very short. I think it's, my opinion is by the end of the week. I think that this rally is going to be strong.
What's your thesis behind
Just market adoption. ETFs are
that? You think we're going to see an
catching
uptick
up
in ETF
speed
flows again?
Yeah, I think the ETFs have taken a break. But my biggest thing was Grayscale. Well, I think the selling is over. And, we talked about it at the beginning of the show. And we saw the outflows. Well, they weren't that. They were the exact opposite. They were inflows. And so that sell pressure is gone. You also got Hong Kong. And they have an ETF product as well for Bitcoin.
Here's an interesting thing too, Rob, is Hong Kong is also tapping into the U.S. ETF market.
The only thing is that the scary Gary has been at it again, suing everybody and dropping Wells notices like he's digging for water. Well, there you go.
Robin Wick 589 wants to know, hey Rob, How do I, what do you say? How do I get my wife more interested in crypto?
Mm.
Do you take her to cat conventions or how do you get her more interested? Curious here.
That is a really inside one there. If you're on X, you probably caught it. But how do you get your wife interested in crypto? Well, what you don't do
Kick her out of the house.
is try to explain blockchain. Don't do
That's
that.
so true.
Do not do that.
Well, there's proof of consensus
Like, well, there
mechanism here.
is a ledger. But like, that's just stop. Stop right there. Just tell her it's new money.
So you don't explain to her
It's
how
new
proof of
money.
work and the SHA-256
It's new money.
hashing algorithm works?
But it's like, have you tried to explain internet to your grandma? Like, she ain't gonna get it. But just tell her that it's new technology and then that everyone's using it. And then, so for me, babe, it's new money. Everybody's using it. Trust me.
It's going to make us a lot of money.
There it is.
Yeah. And if she doesn't believe you, well, there's other. Come back to us after if she doesn't buy that.
I think I got an idea. You go to Tiffany, hey, you pay with Doge, and say, see, that's crypto. You like your new ring? That's it.
Not a bad.
That's a very
Good
a very expensive
my wife's
proposition,
name
though.
is Tiffany.
Well, but just playing crypto.
Mm.
If it wasn't for Doge, you would have never had this. I like that.
Exactly. That's it.
I like that.
Or you just give her allowance in crypto. And you might be asking, what do you mean allowance? But it's a certain way I operate, okay? But give her allowance in crypto.
Give your
And
wife
then,
an
and then
allowance.
she's just got to figure out how to use it. She's like, what am I supposed to do with this? I need money. Be like, well, I don't know. Figure it out. There you go. Certain places take it. Figure out how to
So
get it.
you
to
give your
cash.
wife an allowance like a kid, huh?
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
All right. Let's talk about. Let's take a look at a Bitcoin chart here. So I got Bitcoin on the daily, and I throw on my Ichimoku because I want to see, hey, what is the trend, right? And we're currently in this little equilibrium zone. Anytime you're trading in the cloud, you don't really want to take a long or a short position because price hasn't. It's in its equilibrium. It's trying to find its equilibrium, right? But good news. After closing 2 candles below our cloud on the daily, we have re-entered. We're currently printing a red candle, which could signal, if it remains like this or if that body starts to shrink, it could signal a reversal back to the downside. We should see some immediate support right around 62.2. If I take this off and I throw on our price action concepts here from LuxAlgo, right below us, we do have a fair value gap. Lower bound is around 59.8. Higher bound is around 62.4. Will that gap get filled? Maybe, potentially. If we do lose that gap, we actually kind of got a double gap, that overlap here. We could see a trip down to that 54 to 56K level. Do I think it's probable? Maybe, depending on, maybe this red candle is people overreacting to the Robinhood Wells notice. Maybe Gary Gensler is not done yet. Who knows? But it's at least important to keep both scenarios in mind. And then if we just draw the fib here, we'll take a look at, hey, how has price reacted at the key Fibonacci levels? And we take our move up here from around 42.7 and we draw it to the top. You can see here twice, almost perfectly, we bounced off our 382 level. More recently, we bounced off our 50% retracement level. If we see another leg down, could we catch some support right around that 618 level? Potentially. That would be a pretty big move to the downside, meaning that move up, we've lost 61.8% of that move if we do make a trip down to around $54,700. So it's important to keep in mind. But again, if you zoom out to the weekly, I mean, Bitcoin looks extremely bullish. If anything, it's printing a massive cup and handle. And if you throw on the cloud, you can see we are well above our cloud, meaning we are still in a very strong uptrend, which again, you hear people say it all the time, whether it's us or anyone else in our space. When in doubt, zoom out, right? When in doubt, zoom out. I did mention Robinhood. Gary is robbing us of our freedom to transact. Robinhood faces SEC scrutiny over, what happened? Where'd you go? Go back here. Robinhood faces SEC scrutiny over U.S. crypto operations. Robinhood has officially responded to a Wells notice from the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, which challenges their operations. This is a quote from Dan Gallagher, Robinhood's chief legal and compliance officer. After years of good faith attempts to work with the SEC for regulatory clarity, including our well-known attempt to come in and register, we are disappointed that the agency has decided to issue a Wells notice related to our crypto business in the U.S. Robinhood argues that the cryptocurrencies listed on their platform do not qualify as securities and is ready to demonstrate the weakness of any SEC case against it, both factually and legally. Enter the ring, Robinhood. Big company, publicly traded, a lot of money, a lot of users. The SEC decided to drag them into the fight. This is obviously a net positive for everyone else that's fighting the SEC, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on
I'm just so sick of the SEC. And, you're kind of going through the article, and I'm just like, why Robinhood, man? They haven't had, okay, they got some meme coins listed, but they don't have this large swath of speculative coins, right? They keep their market pretty shallow. There's not a lot of offerings. I think they're like, how many have they got now? About 12 or 15? So somewhere around that range. They got less than 20. And so Robinhood is simply giving American users a platform to buy the top cryptos that are in demand, right? And they haven't really tried to make a ton of money off of the really high speculative, high risk plays, right? I feel like they've thought about their consumers' risk at least in some frame. They waited a long time to post to have SHIB on their platform, and a lot of other tokens as well. They took some time. I know when they first got into crypto, they had only 5 cryptos available, and I think that it's commendable. Now I don't know why the SEC, when there's so many crap projects out there, when there's so many people scamming just the everyday user, and there's no shortage of them. I mean, there's thousands of them. We cover them all the time. And, there's a lot of projects we don't cover. We go through the news every day, and every day there's 2 or 3 new crypto startups that have went under or rug pulls. And like, why not go after those? And then instead, they decide to go after the projects and the companies that have been around for quite some time, that have been trying to foster adoption. Like Coinbase is such a good example. I mean, they've been around since 2012, and like, hey, they've had opportunities to game the system by taking short-term money and putting up some very risky, tokens, and they've chosen not to. Now, they have a larger catalog than Robinhood, but it's still, they are commendable when you look at the competition, right? We've seen FTX fraud people, and FTX was damn near getting the nod from the SEC. And so I feel like they have their targets set on the wrong people, or at least the wrong companies. And it's just very disappointing. And I'm ready to pack up and go to Portugal. I don't like the SEC.
I want to give a big shout out to Bro Kiyoshi gifting 10 memberships. It's been a while. Big shout out to you, Bro Kiyoshi. I want to put out an APB for Crypto Billy and Jimmy. Where the hell are you guys? Shame on both of you. I will text you after the show is over. Let's talk about money flowing in. Where is it flowing? And how could you get exposure to the money that's flooding into this one sector of crypto? Let's talk about it. Crypto investment hits $1.02 billion in the month of April. This is from Forecast News. This is the second consecutive month funding has surpassed the $1 billion threshold. That brings the total amount invested in crypto ventures thus far in 2024 to 3.67 billion United States dollars. Blockchain infrastructure companies, pay attention. Blockchain infrastructure companies alone have amassed over 1.7 billion this year. So nearly half of the total VC flow into crypto has gone to blockchain infrastructure. What are some blockchain infrastructure projects from CryptoRank, Chainlink, Filecoin, The Graph, Arweave, Quant, Akash, Helium, Axelar, and then some lower coins here. What are your thoughts on that, Robin? And what are your thoughts on this sector here, this blockchain infrastructure sector? Is there anyone that stands out to you if you are trying to follow this trend of where the money is going? Which of these maybe should you have on your radar, and which of them are at a good price point for you to maybe get a maximum value out of it?
I feel like they're all at good price points, right? Maybe you could say that Chainlink has stronger performance compared to the rest of the groups. I think that, Filecoin, I know that the tokenomics are pretty crap on that one. And, you can make an argument that it might not be an ideal long-term play, but we can look at price action and volume on Filecoin historically in the last bull market, and that thing absolutely ripped. I mean, I don't know if it cracked the top 10, but it got pretty damn close if it did not. I know it was floating around the top 10 or right outside the top 10 for quite some time. And then also, Quant, I think, is a sleeping giant down there.
Under $100.
Yeah. Where's Quant at on the market cap list? I think
Pretty sure it's outside the top 50.
is it outside the top 50? That is going to come back. And you mentioned the infrastructure. Infrastructure is
Number 71.
number 71, huh? Jeez. This thing,
We're talking about a project that has less circulating supply than Bitcoin.
yeah,
14
it's
million.
and you go back and look at the run this thing had. I mean, it was at over $300. So I mean, actually not quite as down as I was assuming it would have been. But I do think that this is something that we're sleeping on, something that most blockchains, especially the layer ones, could benefit from using. And I know that a lot of ecosystems are trying to keep everything in house, but even those chains that are known for building in house are leveraging the services of other blockchains. And you need to look no further than like Cardano as an example. You look at their ecosystem and how many blockchains they interact with to operate, and they're up in the hundreds. So could you see Quant take a bigger piece of the pie when it comes to use case and utility amongst the other layer ones? I think so. And as far down the list as it is on CoinMarketCap, I think it has a lot of room to run.
Yeah, for me, Filecoin, Arweave, I feel like ICP should be in here. ICP, Akash Network, I have some of that. Helium, after bridging over to Solana, that's, $5.35. We saw this thing. You want to talk about something that ran? This thing had an all-time high market cap of, zoom out here, 5.5 billion, and it's currently sitting at under a billion, so at around 892 million in circulating or in market cap currently. So about a 6x away from just getting back to an all-time high. And we're talking about a project that fits into a bunch of different narratives, right? You have the infrastructure narrative, you have the telecommunications narrative, and so people can make money with it, and you can save money on your internet services. So a lot of good projects here. I'm curious in the chat. Well, what is your favorite pick out of the blockchain infrastructure watch list here? Obviously, as mentioned, close to 50% of all VC money that has poured in since the beginning of the year have gone into this sector of crypto. So which of these to you are you most bullish on? Do you think people should get exposure to? Again, you look at something like Filecoin, Rob, you mentioned a big run up, got up to over $250, right? Market cap of around 15 billion. But as you mentioned, tokenomics not very good, around 27% is currently circulating. If I zoom out to the weekly chart here, you can see Filecoin, $250 all-time high. Am I saying it's going to get there? I don't know. But it sure as hell is pretty far off from its all-time high. This looks like this kind of looks like a rug pull, but obviously we know it's not a rug pull. We know this thing's going to tick back up. Can it get back up to the last high it had towards the top of the cycle here, around $115? You're looking at a 20x from where it is now. And we're talking about a project that is a leader in their space. Your Filecoin virtual machine is live. We're looking to connect to other chains, EVM chains and whatnot. So pretty interesting. I know Amari mentioned Pith. You know, someone, because I was, messing up on the pronunciation. They're like, pretend like Michael Tyson is saying piss. That's how you pronounce it. So from then on, I've been
Yeah.
Rocco, I can't wait till you watch the video I did this afternoon. Speaking of this afternoon's video,
I recorded with you. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember.
sell your XRP for Cardano. That's today's video. You're going to want to watch it. Very interesting stuff in there. Probably going to piss some people off, but hey, guess we're in that mood this weekend, right? All right. Do you want to give one more shout out to our channel sponsor, Cam's Blue Wire Technology? If you want to learn how they can help your business scale and grow, visit bluewiretech.com. That's all we got. Any of you have anything to say?
No, man, I'm good. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad Bitcoin's back. And I'm just glad, bro. That's all I got.
Wow, you sound so glad.
Rocco.
Rocco.
I got no idea.
Anything to say? Oh, doesn't matter. Rocco!
What?
You messed with me, buddy.
No tornado?
I messed with you back.
No tornado?
A lot of tornadoes happening in the Middle East, guys.
Oh,
Mid-East.
the music went on.
Middle East, yes.
Yeah.
And the
Nobody
big
cares
blast.
about the weather. Guess what?
Weather was
Everybody, bye.
windstorm here in Las
Did
Vegas.
you hear that?
Yeah, goodbye.
Tornadoes in the Middle East.
In the Midwest.
Yeah, he said.
Anyways, see you tomorrow.
Ciao, that's better.
Know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I?